Good morning, Leslie. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Amir?
I'm good, thank you. I have a couple of questions that
Sure.
your audience are dying to find out.
Mm-hmm.
So, may we begin?
Yes, sure. Let's do it.
Alright, so here are 10 questions for Leslie Variyan, the creative director of Variante. First question: what was your childhood like, and where did you spend your growing years?
Okay, so my childhood, we come from a very humble background, a very modest background. So I was born in PJ, in Section 14 PJ. My mom worked in Glaxo. She was very fashionable. My dad was with the news. He was with RTM. So I went to LaSalle PJ, both primary and secondary. And my childhood, I remember it to be a happy one. You know, my parents gave us what they could with what they had. And yeah, so it was a happy one. Yeah.
Your childhood sounds amazing. Who was your role model back then that you took inspiration from?
So role model, that's a big question. So many people played an important part in my life at different times, at different phases. So to name one role model would be unfair, because so I would, it's like when I was growing up, when I was in school. I guess my role models were probably my friends, that good friends around me that supported me. Some of the teachers, and then as I grew up, I started working. So my colleagues, and then some of my superiors, my bosses, my parents. Along the way. So I tend to find role models in the people I meet along the way. So we learn from them, and we emulate them. My role models are the people that I grew up with, the people that I work with, and my bosses. My bosses taught me a lot. I worked in Isetan for a long time of my. My first and only serious job was with Isetan. So I worked with them for more than 14 years, and I learned a lot from them. So my bosses, my colleagues, people in the fashion industry has taught me a lot. So a lot of people became my role models at different times. My good friends who supported me. Yeah.
Okay. You sound like you've taken inspiration from a lot of people from different chapters of your life.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So can I ask, what was the best advice handed to you, and whom was it from?
Okay, so I in Isetan, when I was working in Isetan, I was a merchandising manager. So I was involved in buying and producing their in-house brands. So it was a great job. Big responsibility, because it was about the turnover, the yearly turnover of the business. So that was a great responsibility. So I had many bosses to work with, and the last boss that I worked with, I will meet him again in December, in October this year for dinner. Is so my boss, yeah. So I had left Isetan after 14 years, and I opened up my shop. All right, and I was proud to open up the shop, yeah, and everything ready and all that. So so I invited people to come to my shop open to during the opening, and one of the people I invited was my ex-boss, and so thinking that being my ex-boss would be very supportive and encouraging in his words and all that. So your question is, what was the best piece of advice, right? Well, it wasn't an advice that he gave, but more of a statement. So he looked at the shop, and he looked at me and said, "Leslie, there is no wow, there is no surprise in your shop." So that was very painful for me to take, but I know it came from a good place. I know he wanted more from me. He knew that I could do more than that, and he knew that I needed to do more to succeed in the retail industry. I cannot. He just wanted more for me, and it was so bitter. I hated him. I can use the word hated him then for saying that, but now we've become friends after that. But I really appreciate what he said, because it pushed me. Until today, I remember those words. So there are many things that people have said to me along the way, which have pushed me, or which have propelled me to do better, and so I remember those words. But this one by my ex-boss was the most significant statement that it said, that my shop wasn't a wow. There was no wow factor, and it's nothing special.
Wow. Criticism can be good so long as it's constructive.
It's constructive.
And it comes from the right place.
It comes, you must know it comes from the right place. People, he wanted better for me, and I today, looking back, I am very thankful he said those words.
Wow. Okay, so outside of work, how do you usually spend your free time?
Outside of work, okay. So I'm a late bloomer, right? So I didn't party till I was 30. I'm 36 now. Okay, so I didn't party till I was 30. So I'm a late bloomer, and so my free time is socializing. I like cooking. I like hosting my friends for dinner. So I do that, and that's one. And I like listening to music. So we go to clubs, listen to music. I like dancing. I'm no professional dancer, but I like. I think I am a disco person. Everything disco, I go crazy. So and I think that's real music, disco. Okay, so your question was, how do I spend my free time, right? So other than hosting and socializing with friends and partying, I also take small trips here and there, to within Asia, within the country itself, to recharge and to immerse myself in nature, in culture. Yeah.
So, would you call yourself an introverted or extroverted individual?
I would leave it up to the individual how they would see me, but I see myself as an introvert. Yeah, because I'm very shy, and I'm very shy. So it takes a lot for me to speak to someone. Yeah.
Very astute. Okay, my next question. I would like to ask more about your Malaccan roots. Are there any traces of Nyonya heritage in your ancestry?
Okay, so I was born in PJ. Both my parents were born in Malacca. My father in Durian Down and my mom in Jasin. And I have a lot of family in Malacca till today. So my Malacca roots goes back that way. So and as for the Nyonya heritage, my grandmother is Nyonya. So my mom's half Chinese, half Nyonya and half Indian, half Chinese and half Indian. So I have some Chinese blood. You can't see it in me, but I do. So every year when my parents were alive, we would go back to Malacca for Chinese New Year. So because we have family there, mom had a sister there, so we would go back and celebrate Chinese New Year there. So I love Malacca in that way, and I love it even more now. Now that I am older, I appreciate it more. You see things differently. You see where you're coming from. I can't say I am from Malacca because I was born in PJ, but I feel belong in Malacca. I don't know if that makes sense. When you feel belong in some connected.
Yeah.
Connected's the word. Yes.
I can imagine your colorful childhood.
Yeah, and my Nyonya, my Nyonya grandmother, she's a significant point in my life because both my parents were working and she took care of the family. My grandmother took care of the family. So she is she moved herself from Malacca, from Justin at that time, because she knew her children had to do more and had to be in the city. So she moved the whole family after my grandfather passed away. She moved into the city, and she had a lot of grit. So she and started life there. She didn't know anybody, but started life in the city. Took a job as a washing clothes and ironing clothes for people. Then my mom had to start working, and so it was that beginning, that Nyonya heritage, the grit of my grandmother moving from Jasin to KL because she knew that life had to be better. She had to move for life to be better for her family. So it started then, and then I grew up with my grandmother. She took care of us. So her cooking is fantastic. She's one of the best cooks. So was my mother, and I can't say I'm a very good cook, but I've inherited some recipes from them, which I still have until today. I love cooking, so I've learned the cooking from them. My grandmother always wore the Nyonya Kebaya when she had, so it's with the fine embroidery. She sewed her own clothes. So yeah, and I speak a little Hokkien.
Oh, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Why hiao kong Hokkien wa? Why masi chapua teng lang? So I can speak. What I just said was I can speak Hokkien. My mom, my mother is half Chinese.
Wow. Okay. So, are there any notable skills you have aside from being multilingual?
Notable skills. I don't know if we can call it a skill, but I think I'm very good at listening. So I think anybody can come up to me and speak to me about anything that's on your mind, and I will listen. So I don't know if that's a notable skill. I'm good at when it comes to the business, to fashion. I'm very good at selecting the right print. I'm very sharp on my prints, so my patterns and my prints and my colors. I'm very good at this, if I may say so. Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies outside of design then?
Do I have any hobbies? If you can call hiking a hobby, yes, this is something I do in my free time. Yeah, I go hiking twice a week, and I enjoy it a lot, and I do it at about 5 in the evening, or sometimes in the morning, but mostly in the evening. And it's I spend about one to 1.5 hours in the jungle, just walking and trekking the hills in PJ, in Bukit Gasing. So I'm a regular at Bukit Gasing. I know all the snakes there.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, here's the final question. What advices would you give to other aspiring designers in our audience?
So aspiring designers, what I would say is, as a designer, we've got to find our voice, what we want to say in our work, and it has to be your say. Do not. You can be inspired by people around you and everything around you, other designers, but do not copy. Have your own voice. You have to learn your craft. So be very good at what you do. So if you are good at sewing, then, or if you want to learn sewing, learn. If you want to know designing, be good at your craft. You cannot just be on a surface level. You have to go down and deep, and to be successful in what you do. I've written the points down so that I do not forget. So stay inspired. In this business, it's difficult, and not just in this business. I think every business is difficult, and sometimes we lose steam, we lose our bubbles. So we've got to remember and and stay inspired. Take time off. Uh, Immerse yourself in culture, in nature, in history. Read books, travel. All this will help you stay inspired. Yeah. So fashion designers also, know your network, build your network. What you start, the network around you when you start has to grow with you. You have to grow them. For you to be successful, you have to grow your network. Don't be afraid of putting people that will not help you in your journey, out of your bus of life. We've got, it's not using people, but because you have to grow, and people around you also have to grow. So know your network, do collaborations, join associations. When you're more senior, take this opportunity to help people that are junior to you, because we have to build the next generation of designers and creative people. Be persistent in what you do, persistent and consistent. Don't give up on the first failure. If you ask me about failure and challenges that we go through, I have a lot to share with you. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on all the good that we have, and moving, and being persistent and consistent in what you do. Remember your goals and dreams. Remember what you're here for. Yeah. Understand the business. So sometimes you need to know what you're doing, where you're going, whether you should pivot to something else, whether you should change the product. Be understand your business. Even is it even what you want to do? We are in an age. I'm just going through quickly. Where sustainability matters, we have to think of the next generation. So consider sustainability in what you do, and ethical fashion. Go to the right sources, pay the right price, make sure that people working for you are rewarded accordingly. In the current world of social media, we have every opportunity to showcase our work. So use the social media to your advantage. Don't be shy. Be there on the screen, just like I am, even though I'm so shy. So use this all to your advantage. And the last thing it would be is have a vision, a clear vision of what you want in life, and go for it.
I love that lift each other up mentality you have. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Leslie.
You're welcome.
We look forward to hearing from you again. And if there are any parting words you'd like to share with your audience?
Parting words is, thank you for listening to me, and I hope this video helps and inspires anybody watching, and support Variante.